Hey guys, it's Penguin here and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we're going to be covering more markets and more items that are making me more and more gold each week. Now technically this is part 5 of this current series that I have going on called Items That I'm Currently Selling, and I've made an official playlist, so I will leave that down below if you have not seen the previous 4 videos. Now, I apologize because I say this every single time, but it's true, I do not repeat any information throughout these videos. So, if you go watch the 3rd video of the series, that will be 5 completely different items than what I'm just about to talk about right now. So in total, if you watch all 5 videos, you're going to have over 25 items to add to your gold making. So of course, I highly encourage you to check out those previous videos, either before or after this video. But as always, if you guys enjoy this content, leaving a like on the video or even subscribing if you want to see more could really help me out. Let me know if you guys are going to be selling these items or you've already sold them, but we're gonna go straight into this list. And alright, I know I just lied, but I have a final kind of disclaimer that I just want to mention at the start of this video. If you are somebody who is completely brand new to gold making and you want to make some fast gold as soon as possible, this video is not for you. I have videos that cover that topic, which I will leave in the description down below. However, what this video is to help people who may be making, let's say, 15K a day, 150K a day, even 1.5 million a day, who wants to up that number. These items themselves are not going to make you rich overnight. You will see that very, very soon, but that is not the point of this. The point of this is to add these items in to already what you are selling. So then, in a few weeks, you just made an extra 20K, an extra 40K, or an extra 60K, depending on how these items sell. So, just a heads up, this video is meant to help improve your gold making, but if you're somebody looking for some quick cash, this is not for you. And so we're going to start with the more commonly known items, and we're going to work our way into kind of my favorite and a little bit more obscure items as we get further on this list. But up first, we probably have a personal fan favorite, and this is called the Gyromatic Micro-Adjustor. Now, this is a profession tool, very similar to the blacksmithing hammer. You have to buy the blacksmithing hammer from a vendor, and all blacksmiths need it for their crafts. And this is the same exact concept, however, it is for engineers, and it is made by engineers. So in order to craft this tool, you need to have vanilla engineering leveled up to 175. Now, like I said before, these are used by other engineers, but a lot of people either just don't have, their vanilla engineering leveled up, or they're too lazy to craft it themselves, and that's when they buy it off the auction house and buy it from you. Now, these are a non-commodity, meaning that you will not be competing with a whole region, you will just be competing with your own server. So that could increase or decrease profits depending on the server you play on. But in the past 10 days, so about a week and a half, I have sold 11 of these tools, so almost one every single day. Now, I would say my server is one of the worst servers for these items. The best thing about this item is that the crafting cost is very low. Crafting cost is about at 25 gold, and that will be for every NA region because we share the same material prices. But this item only sells for about 100 gold currently on my realm. Now, I was lucky and sold 2 of these gyros for 1,000 gold each, but all of the other ones I sold for about 100 gold. Now, what that simply means is, yes, it's cheap to make, and I'm not selling it for a ton of gold, but it is a very high profit margin. So I have sold 11 of these items for a total of only about 3,600 gold, but 3,300 of that is pure profit. So I've invested about, 300 gold to make 3,300 gold, which is an amazing margin. Moving on, we have a little bit of a weird item, and this comes from engineering yet again, and this is the Sonic Environment Enhancer. Now, unless you've played during Legion, you probably have not heard of this item before, and I just spoiled it, this comes from Legion Engineering. Technically, the level of engineering doesn't matter, but Legion does use Profession Quest, so you have to complete the engineering questline in order to obtain this recipe. But after you do that, you'll be able to craft this, and honestly, this should be considered a toy, but I will just call it a toy-like item. People can use this item in combination of another item, which we'll talk about in just a second, to play music for their character. And so normally, I would consider this a toy, however, it doesn't go into your toy journal, so it's just kind of a weird item. Now, this is a commodity, which is pretty interesting because this item does indeed stack. So currently on the NA region, there is about 100 gold profit margin. Of course, depending on if you're EU or NA, this can change, and of course, by the time you see this video, more people potentially could have crashed the market, but right now there's about 100 gold profit average per enhancer. With that being said, in the past 7 days, I have sold 6 of these, so yet again, almost one every single day, and they have made me a total of 660 gold profit. Now, this profit is nothing to brag about, but you need to keep in mind that I also don't cancel scan. So this is a region-wide commodity, which I have sold almost one per day without cancel scanning. You can probably receive 10 times the results if you frequently cancel scan, which is just something I don't do with old world items. Either way, 660 gold will slowly add up as I sell more and more. Now, I'm not going to talk about this in depth, I highly recommend looking into it, but the enhancer can be combined with 5 different song scrolls to actually play the music, and these scrolls are also commodities, which you can sell on the region-wide auction house. Now, these scrolls are created by Legion Inscription, and you basically just buy them from various different vendors inside of Legion. Now, they do have a very high sale rate, which is awesome. However, they do have a very wide range of price. There's one scroll that's going for sub 1 gold, while there's a handful of them going for over 100 gold. So I highly recommend looking into it if you want to craft the enhancer as well, but it's just something to think about. I'm not going to talk about it much. Moving on, we have our third category, and I think this is probably my favorite item on this list, and this is Primal Mooncloth. Now, there is a normal mooncloth, and then there's the primal version, so just if you ever look it up, make sure you are looking at the primal mooncloth, not the normal one. This comes from Outland Tailoring, specifically level 50 Outland Tailoring, and this is a vendor-learned recipe. So there is no rep grind involved at all, but you do have to make your way to Satrath City and buy it from the tailoring specialist. I'll have a location on screen. Now, a side note is that this specialist, this trainer, also sells multiple Primal Mooncloth transmog pieces, so I highly recommend, if those armor pieces are profitable on your server, to sell them as well. This one material market can potentially turn into 6 different items to sell if you find profit. But with that being said, it is pretty simple to craft. Now, the one biggest downside or annoyance of this item is that it does require you to craft it at a moonwell. Moonwells are just locations that are marked throughout Azeroth that you can actually craft these at. I will leave some recommended locations on screen depending on your faction, because personally I only know the close horde ones off the top of my head, but that is a major downside. Of course, if you craft in bulk, or you just craft a large amount at a time, then you will be okay because it'll only be like 1 trip a week depending on how much you craft. With that being said, I have sold over 200 cloth in the past 7 days, 239 cloth to be exact. That brings us to 12,000 gold profit just off of this cloth. And that is not talking about the transmog pieces, which I have sold a few of myself. Now, I will just warn you as a beginner out there, the biggest downside besides the annoyance factor of location is that it requires a hefty upfront cost. Kind of the opposite of the Gyromatic Adjustor. You know, the Gyromatic Adjustor had a cheap cost and also a high margin. This is kind of the opposite. It has an expensive cost because it requires primals, and it has a low margin. So like I said, I made 12,000 gold, but that 12,000 gold is out of 75,000 gold total. So if you're somebody with not a lot of gold to spend, this might not be a perfect item for you. But to the people who have the gold and want to test out this item also has two quote-unquote sisters, I like to say. These are the same type of things, but they have a different name, and this is the Shadow Cloth as well as Spell Cloth. I will leave their locations on screen and also their locations of where you have to craft them. However, they do just as great as Primal Moon Cloth. I believe I've sold 100 Shadow Cloth and about 150 Spell Cloth. So not as great as the Primal Moon Cloth this past week, but I still recommend them, especially if you already have the Primal Moon Cloth and you're looking for more similar items. And alright, we have our final category for this video. Now yes, normally I have 5 different categories for each video, but because we have kind of combined some like the enhancer and the scrolls and the 3 different types of cloth, we only have 4 main categories. But the final category is actually an armor set. So I know we don't cover transmog a ton on this series, but I wanted to highlight a great set, and this is the Imperial Plate Set. Now this just simply is trainer learned, which is amazing. I will just put a little PS, if you look it up on Wowhead, these used to come from a recipe, which no longer exists, it just comes from the trainer now. So if you look it up and it says no longer available, that is what's going on. But this comes from vanilla blacksmithing, and you do need to max it out to level 300. Now, there are 2 main pros of this specific set, and the first one is that each piece is so cheap to make. At the current moment on the NA region, every piece is sub 30 gold to craft, which is amazing, and it's just because it uses thorium bars, and thorium bars are just so ridiculously cheap. With that being said, this item sells for actually a large amount of gold, and it sells very fast. I have sold 3 complete sets in the past 9 days, so you know, about one every a few handful of days, but the profit has been amazing. Keep in mind, this is armor, so it's not going to be the same across every server, as it's still server specific, but currently the best piece right now, which is the shoulder piece, is going for a profit of 778 gold. So I've sold 3 shoulders right there, that's over 2,000 gold profit. And the worst right now is the boots, which is only, quote unquote, only making me 290 gold profit. So even there, selling 3 of those, right there, that's almost 900 gold profit from just 3 boots. Now, this has been a common trend throughout kind of all of these items. The profit numbers that I'm saying are not very flashy. They may be considered not very good, but you have to look at it at a time and kind of margin standpoint. Yes, I'm only making 2,100 gold profit by selling 3 of those shoulders. You know, that's the same thing as going to go run a calling, but my investment was only 90 gold, and honestly, it was probably even cheaper. So yes, you know, once again, I didn't make a ton of gold, but it didn't cost me a lot of gold either. Also, I don't cancel scan any of these items, so it literally takes me 2 minutes every single day, post this up, and then it's good to go. So yes, these numbers are not flashy, and that is kind of the trend of these videos. As you guys have probably known at this point, this series is not meant to be flashy. It's not meant to promise you that you're going to make millions every single week. But if you add all of these together, that is where the millions actually happen. You know, if you just sell adjusters, you've only made about 3,000 gold, but combine that with the mooncloth, and there you have 15,000 gold profit. Then combine that with the Imperial Plate set, let's say we've made a total of 6k with that, then you have 21,000 profit, and so on and so forth. So yes, these items aren't great separately, but keep at it, add it to your auctions, but diversity is key. Don't look at them as individual items, look at them in total, and as you grow your collection, you will make more and more gold every single day. But everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you'll be able to add some of these to your daily crafts. And of course, let me know your experience with these items if you have already sold them in the past. But everybody, once again, thank you so much. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments down below. And as always, everybody, have a great day.